Good afternoon. Today we're going to talk about the how and why of summarizing. With that being said, I need you to go get your writing notebook and a pencil. I'm pretty sure that you have them in front of you, so open to your next clean page. You're going to take some notes today that we're going to use eventually in group, and we're also going to practice. First thing, what do we already know? So what I want you to do in your notebook is number 1 and 2 and answer these questions. What do you know about summarizing? What words come to mind with this related to summarizing? And how do you write a summary? Do you already know how to do this? Remember that you should be pausing your video as you're doing the various activities that I ask you to do with your writing notebook. So you already have these. Well, summarizing, let's talk a little bit about it. Summarize. It means to present the substance or general idea in brief form, to create that clear, concise, completed, condensed account of the original document. So you're taking whatever they say and making it into a condensed little section or paragraph. And you're to cover the main points. Where we get off a lot of times is we don't always get the main points. What I need you to do is record this definition in your notebook. Pause your video, please. Now I want you to write in your notebook, why is summarizing important? Record a couple things of why do you think we need to do this? And I'm going to give you some facts and statistics about why summarizing is so important. Pause your video, please. I hope you got some good things about why summarizing is important. Let's really talk about why we summarize. Practice in summarizing improves your reading comprehension of fiction and nonfiction alike. It helps in the overall to construct an overall understanding of the text, story, chapter, or article. If you've taken a passage and you can summarize it and summarize it well, that means that you've understood what you were reading. Ways to introduce a summary. Go ahead and write this in your notebook. This is talking about how do you start it. I prefer that you start yours with your title and author. So you might have a stem something like this. In the article, whatever the article is, comma, by whoever the author is, if you know it, and then state the main idea of the text. What's the main point? What's it all about? What's the so what? Pause your video and write this down, please. All right, so I see that you have that. Let's talk a little bit more about establishing a focus and main idea. I know we've done lessons on main idea because that was the previous step to today, but let's just talk a little more. You need to know what your main idea is. It helps to be the most important statement in the passage. The main idea is sometimes explicit or implied, meaning explicit, meaning you can find it directly in the paragraph you're reading, or you have to figure it out. Use those clues like a detective and figure out the main idea. Not all information is equal. Some of it's clearly more important. You know how I call some of you highlight or happy? You don't want to highlight everything, all the details. What are the most important details in the text? So, summary format. You need to write this in your notebook. So when I'm done talking, please pause it. Here's your big idea. Title and author, main idea, and at least 3 details. You really don't want any more than that because then you're not writing a summary. Pause your video and please write this down. Next thing, you're not going to write all this down, so don't get worried. A couple things that you want to look for that help you plant those important ideas. What do authors do that kind of put seeds in there to help you? They might reflect on the title. They might give details at the beginning of the story. They might add a final detail at the end. They might put surprises in there. Repeating of words is key. If there's certain details that are repeated, obviously that's got a link to the main idea. There's lots of attention given to detail. Subheadings might help. Changes if you're reading fiction in character, tone, mood, or plot. And there might be a question near the beginning or end, and that might be turned into the main idea. So these are just things for you to keep in mind when you're working on creating a condensed, concise summary. Remember that summaries are the author's arguments and details. They are not places for personal opinions or judgments. In 6th grade, your job is to write an objective summary, meaning I don't want any eyes in there. You need to make sure that there's no feelings. It is straight information and details. Okay, if you'd like to write this down just to remember that in your brain, you're more than welcome. Pause the video. So it is time to practice. We're going to look a little bit at a very, very, very short passage because you're going to be doing a lot more of this with partners and groups. So you have this passage here. It says, early times, we don't have an author. It says, people used to play football bareheaded. After many injuries, players began to use plain leather caps. Plastic helmets and masks appeared later. Still, many players were getting hurt. To make helmets better, designers studied woodpeckers. Wow, I'm really surprised by that. Their tough, spongy skulls became a model of modern football helmets. So what I need you to do is, sorry, I forgot to tell you, but go get this paper on the side table and pause your video. All right, you're back. So let's talk. What I need you to do is think about what is the main idea about this passage. Write it down below the passage. Okay, you got that one? Now, what are some details that support that main idea? You think you have them? All right. Next thing, I want you to try to write a summary of this little passage. Is it going to be really long? No, I think mine might be 4 sentences. Pause the video, write your summary. Okay, great, you've got it. You've got your summary. So let's look at what I did. I used an organizer. I don't know if many of you did, but you need to start using one. Main idea, detail 1, 2, 3, because you know that's what goes in a summary. You can draw your own. You don't always have to wait for a teacher to give you an organizer. Last thing, here's how I changed my summary. In the passage Early Days, the author's main point is how many injuries occurred due to the lack of head protection. Isn't that what they're all talking about? Isn't that why they looked at woodpeckers? Scientists improved them by studying woodpeckers, peckers, since leather caps and playing bareheaded was unsuccessful. So I put the 3 main ideas, but if you noticed, I put the supporting details together in one sentence. There wasn't a whole lot of text to work with. How'd you do on your summary? Rate it 1 to 5. 1 being, oh boy, it really needs a lot of work, or 5, it was pretty good, and put a circle around it on your paper. All right, we'll see you in group.